Hey guys, this is Nate here, and I've done a review of the HTC One as well as the Samsung Galaxy S4. I've done a camera comparison test between both of these phones, as well as a benchmark comparison test. In this video, I'm going to let you guys know which phone I would carry and use as a daily driver, and why. Now, I think that if anyone out there says that one of these phones is better than the other, they're just completely wrong. Both of these devices are very high-end Android devices. They work very well, and there's no big flaws about either of them. Last year with the Samsung Galaxy S3, that was definitely the Android phone to get. This year the Samsung Galaxy S4 is also a very solid device, but this year the HTC One is bringing some competition, which is great for consumers, especially when it is a difficult decision like it is here. And I think what it comes down to is, I think most consumers would be happy with either device, but one of them maybe fits your needs more than the other. That being said, though, if you are on Verizon, the Samsung Galaxy S4 is going to be your only option at this point. The S4 will be available on May 23rd. Now, there have been some rumors that an HTC One or a variant of it could be coming to Verizon in the future, but as of right now, there's been no confirmed release date. Now, if you want a phone that has a removable battery or an expandable SD card slot, you're going to have to go with the Samsung Galaxy S4. That's just not something available here on the HTC One. On the other hand, if you don't want an Android phone made of plastic, you want something with some better build quality, definitely go with the HTC One. It's definitely one of the best design phones I have ever had the pleasure of using. With that being said, though, the device I would definitely choose to use on a daily basis is the HTC One, and I'm going to let you guys know about 5 reasons why I think this device is personally better for me. So the first reason I would personally choose the HTC One over the Samsung Galaxy S4 is because of screen brightness. Now, when you're indoors, that's not as big of a deal, but when you go outside, you can definitely tell that the HTC One has a much brighter display than what you'll find here on the S4, and that is definitely a big deal for me anyway. The summer's coming up, I'm definitely going to be outside a lot with my phone, and sometimes I have trouble seeing what's on the Galaxy S4 display depending on what I'm looking at. With the HTC One, I have no problem. Number 2 is the Boomsound speakers here on the HTC One. That's what HTC calls their front-facing speakers here on the device, and they definitely sound awesome. There's also Beats audio technology incorporated here on the HTC One, and it just really sounds great for a smartphone. You know, nothing state-of-the-art, but compared to other smartphones out there, they're definitely top-notch and very loud, and they sound great. So, when I'm out and about sharing a video with someone, playing music out of my phone, I really like to have the ability to have those HTC Boomsound speakers. The speaker here on the Galaxy S4 is not bad by any means, but the HTC One is just very, very impressive in the sound department. Reason number 3 then is with the camera. So I uploaded the camera comparison test. A good amount of you thought the HTC One performed better. Some of you did think that the Galaxy S4 performed better. It really depends on what you're looking for out of your camera. The HTC One has the benefit of having less pixels. That's going to allow more light into the phone, so you could definitely see towards the end of the video that the HTC One had much, much better low light performance. Where the Galaxy S4 benefits is with its higher megapixel count, so you're going to be able to zoom in on your photos a little bit more, get a little bit more detail on the photo because you have that higher megapixel count and it won't get as blurry as what it might on the HTC One. Now, to me, I just want a camera that's going to perform good on auto mode. I'm going to be able to share those photos on social media, and if I really want to edit those photos, I'll put them on my computer and use Aperture or iPhoto or something like that. There are a lot of great photo editing features here on the Samsung Galaxy S4, but to me, if I really want to do some heavy editing, I want to put those photos on my computer, and I feel that the HTC One is just the better overall camera because it's going to perform well in low light as well as daylight, and as I said before, I'm going to be using my phone out a lot during the summertime, and if I'm going to any events at nighttime, like sport events, going to an amusement park, something like that, I will definitely want to use this phone for that great low light performance. Reason number 4 then deals with the performance of both of these devices. Now, I've done a benchmark test here on another video, and we saw the HTC One come out on top in one benchmark test while the S4 came out on top in another, and that's to be expected. You've got 2 of the same CPUs here on both of these devices, the Snapdragon 600 quad-core processor. Samsung Galaxy S4 is clocked in at 1.9 GHz, HTC One at 1.7 GHz, but I think the real test is how both of these devices perform in day-to-day usage. And I would give both gaming is solid on both of these devices, but I would give a little bit of an edge over to the Samsung Galaxy S4. However, with different apps and stuff that are installed in the phone by default, I found the S4 to be a bit of a more laggy device than the HTC One out of the box. Certain animations on the the Samsung Galaxy S4, excuse me, I can just notice that lag. It's very noticeable to me. Anyway, the HTC One, I have not found that to be present, and I think that the Samsung Galaxy S4 as of right now is actually more laggy than the Galaxy Note 2, and I think the reason for that is there's been a good amount of updates for the Galaxy Note 2, so I think as more updates come down the pipe for the S4, some of that lag will get worked out, but as I said before, I think out of the box the HTC One seems to be a better performer with just general day-to-day tasks and less lag that's noticeable to me anyway. The other thing is I do prefer Sense 5.0 over the TouchWiz interface here over on the Samsung Galaxy S4. I think that TouchWiz to me is a bit overwhelming. There's a lot of features I personally don't think I'll ever use, and there's just too much bloat on this phone for me. HTC, I think, went with a different design philosophy. Instead of trying to include as many features they possibly could, they stuck with a few ones like HTC Blink features, which I think work very well, and if you don't like them, I don't think they're overwhelming like all the features that you'll find here on the S4. And the last reason I would personally choose the HTC One over the Galaxy S4 deals with internal storage. So you can get both of these devices for $199 on a 2-year contract. The HTC One ships with 32 gigabytes of internal storage. Samsung Galaxy S4 ships with only 16. Now you might say, well, that's not a big deal. With the S4 you get that external micro SD card slot that you can use. Well, the thing that you should know about that is you can't install any apps on the SD card. So to me, that's what I really use most of my internal storage for, is being able to put apps on the device. And if I can't do that on the external SD card, it's kind of pointless for me because a lot of the photos, videos, and music that I have is stored in the cloud anyway. So having that SD card doesn't really benefit me personally. The other thing to note is with the Samsung device out of the box, there's actually only about 8.5 to 9 gigabytes of usable storage once you subtract all of the Samsung pre-installed software that they have on that phone, and that's quite a bit. And there are games on the Google Play Store themselves that will take up 1 to 2 gigabytes of internal storage. That can add up really quickly, and you'll find that you've got a full device here on the Samsung Galaxy S4, while with the HTC One, you've got around 29, I think, gigabytes to use right out of the box, which is definitely a good amount of storage, I would say, for most people. You can also make the jump up to the 64 gigabyte model with the HTC One. That'll cost you $299 on a 2-year contract. Now, if you are going to be purchasing the Samsung Galaxy S4, I would highly recommend paying an additional $50. It'll cost you $249.99 to get a 32 gigabyte Samsung Galaxy S4. That will leave you with 25 gigabytes of usable storage. So to me, I just think it's a little bit better value here with the HTC One with that internal storage. And I think the way Samsung is marketing the fact that you have that external SD card slot is a little bit of false advertising because you can't use it for apps, and to me, that was a bit deceiving anyway. So that's just the reason I would personally choose the HTC One over the Samsung Galaxy S4. At the end of the day, the Samsung Galaxy S4 is going to be an immensely popular device. If you're looking for a phone that's going to fit well in an ecosystem, I would probably go with the S4. There's a lot of people who own the S3. The S4 will fit in quite nicely with that, and some of those features like S-Beam, where you can share photos and things like that across Samsung devices, is nice. HTC doesn't have as much of an ecosystem like that, but I do find this to be a unique device that I think will stand out from a lot of the other Android devices out there. So let me know which phone you guys like better in a comment down below, and I'll see you guys in the next video.